Yo, what's going on everyone? It's me, it's Jinsula. I hope you're having a good day and welcome to today's Pokemon Go video. Alright, so recently Niantic implemented a change in Pokemon Go that completely flew over a majority of Pokemon Go players' heads. So what was this change? Well, if you open up the game right now and click on a Pokemon, you may have found that they completely turned off AR. On the one hand, this makes total sense because if you think about the majority of the Pokemon Go player base, absolutely nobody cares about AR. They're playing the game for a very specific reason, and that is to collect Pokemon and powering up those Pokemon. The AR gameplay side of it was always something that Niantic pushed as being part of Pokemon Go, and yet nobody ever used it. I really do think that this is going to be a very interesting time because it seems like Niantic is cutting at the core of a lot of their gameplay in order to meet the demands and needs of the average player. However, there is another side to this. I think some players are going to be very frustrated about this change, especially the most hardcore players, because when it comes to quick catching and shiny checking, using AR mode was a great way to get a lot of that done really quickly. It skips a lot of the animations, and for a lot of people who like to play a little bit more hardcore, I think this is going to be a detriment to their gameplay. A lot of people that I know who play hardcore have been used to using AR in order to do quick catching as well as shiny checking, especially on community days and spotlight hours, and they're going to be missing out on a lot of time with the removal of this feature. And I really don't know if this is one of those cases where Niantic is weighing all their options and choosing to go with the lesser of two evils, or they are completely oblivious to how some of the most hardcore players play their game. I tend to think it is the latter because the handful of people that I've talked to at Niantic seems to know the intricacies that most of the hardcore players utilize. So they probably were fully aware that hardcore players were using AR for quick catching as well as shiny checking, and I really do think they made this change even being fully aware of that specific thing. So yeah, I find this to be very interesting because I really do think that this change was a long time coming. Like I said, nobody cares about AR, and I really feel like for Niantic, they need to do a lot more in order to push AR+, because now that is the only form of AR gameplay within Pokemon Go. And I really do think it's important that they kept AR+ at the very least because there is a subset of players out there who do a lot with AR photography, and that is actually a fun form of gameplay for them. So Niantic is not completely cutting out AR gameplay, but they're basically only keeping it to those who are actually interested in it. And I really do think that number is small, and that's something Niantic could change if they actually add some fun elements to AR gameplay. But yeah, as of right now, there is no AR in Pokemon Go aside from AR+, and that's going to be a major convenience for a lot of people, but a very major inconvenience for a small number of hardcore players. Now, one more thing that I wanted to talk about regarding this AR change that I'm actually personally a fan of is the fact that it is going to make stuff like Buddy Adventure just a lot more streamlined, and it's going to be less of a drain on my phone battery. And that's been something that I've been wanting for a very long time. At the very least, I've been wanting Niantic to implement features where you could turn AR completely off, even for Buddy Adventure. And they have not done that, but as of right now, it looks like that's just the permanent feature. And I really do not know how I feel entirely about it, because at some points I do want to use AR for some of my Buddy Adventure stuff. Like, I want to take some really cool pictures, but I don't want to just walk around looking for that flat area, like those little yellow petals. Like, I don't know. I really do not know how I feel about this, because on the one hand, like I said, I do think this is going to add a lot of convenience, and I actually do prefer this change, but on the other hand, I feel like I'm losing something with Pokemon Go. It's been kind of a staple part of this game, even though a lot of players did not care about it. It really has been a staple component of Pokemon Go pretty much since the beginning, but now it's gone, and I find that to be very interesting. And yeah, I still think there's a lot of potential here that Niantic could do some really cool stuff with AR+, so at the very least, I do like that this is kind of them trimming the fat a little bit with Pokemon Go and leaving room for something a lot more refined when it comes to AR gameplay, but at the very least, I feel like a little bit of a heads up would have been really nice, because I think a lot of players out there, especially the hardcore players, are going to be thrown for a loop, especially with the upcoming Bagon Community Day. But yeah, in any case, I just wanted to share some of my thoughts regarding this change. I think it's a very interesting change, and I can't really pinpoint whether or not it's a positive change or it's going to be something negative in the long run, but I tend to think that it's going to be positive. I mean, it seems like Niantic is actually trying this year, especially after last year's big fumbles. And I really do hope Niantic makes some positive changes because, yeah, Pokemon Go is in need of some positivity and Niantic could use a lot more of that. And it's really going to be up to them. But yeah, that's going to be it for this video. Let me know your thoughts regarding this change down below in the comments. Are you a big fan of this change, or are you one of those hardcore players that is extremely frustrated that you can no longer use AR to quick catch as well as shiny check? Definitely share all that down below and let's have a great discussion. And thank you so much for making it to this point in the video. If you ended up enjoying it, make sure you hit that like button and subscribe if it's your first time here. And also don't forget that little bell so you can stay up to date on whenever I upload videos. And hey, do you want to support the Jinsula channel? The best way you could do so is, of course, joining my Patreon. If you become a paid Patreon member, then you get a permanent spot on my in-game Pokemon Go friends list. That means for remote raids and the friendship levels, you can actually play Pokemon Go with me, and we can take down some raids together. It's a whole lot of fun, and I try to raid with my Patreon supporters as much as I can. So if you want to join in on that, then definitely go and check out my Patreon, the link to which is in the description below. And if you want to support my channel in a very different way, you could always do so by following me on social media. My handle is @Jinsula, and I'm on the platforms that you see on screen. They're right about here. Alright, and that's going to be it. I'm Jinsula. Be safe, have fun, love yourself, and I'll catch you all later.